Alright guys, today we are going to be reacting to can you pass Germany's toughest driving test. Thank you so much for the support guys and everything that you guys have done to the channel. We're going to simply jump in here, see what's going on. Can I pass it? If I study and I do the right things and I'm very consistent with the program, I will. But most importantly, I'm not afraid of the practical test. I'm more afraid of the theory, right? Because you have to study a lot. That's why. Let's jump in and see what's going on. Make sure you guys subscribe before we start.
Getting your driving license in Germany. It's harder than you might think.
Germans are famous around the world for their cars, so it's really no surprise that they're also renowned as very disciplined drivers. How difficult is it to get your driving license in Germany? How expensive is it? How complicated is the whole process? What exactly makes Germans such disciplined road users? And what else do you need to know about getting your German driving license? Hop in, let's find out. There are several steps you need to take before you can even think about getting behind the wheel.
First, you need to pass an eye test. Then you must complete a first aid course so that you're prepared if you get into an accident.
Are you okay?
Wow, that is actually wow. Wow. So hold up. You have to take a first aid lesson and then you have to have those little triangles just in case something happened, huh? This is
So that
kind of
you're
interesting.
prepared if you get into an accident.
Are you okay?
Once you've done those, it's time to enroll at a driving school. German law dictates that you must attend at least 21 hours of theory classes and have 12 practical special training drives.
Wow.
Thought you could get a friend or a family member to teach you? Wrong. It has to be a qualified instructor.
Brake, wheel.
That's a lot of steps. I got my license in Scotland when I was 17 and I didn't need to take an eye test or do a first aid course. My dad gave me a lot of my lessons and I think I did maybe 10 official hours of lessons. So quite a big difference there. What's it like in your country?
Here are some facts and figures about Germany. It has the highest number of registered passenger cars in the EU, around 49 million, and ranks third in Europe for traffic injuries per million inhabitants,
Wow.
after Austria and San Marino. But Germany has one of the lowest road death rates, at 3.3 per 100,000 inhabitants, compared to 6.6 Europe-wide, 10.8 in the US, and 14.6 worldwide. And one of the lowest rates of drink driving deaths. South
and that
Africa
is-
and the US have the highest.
That is so interesting. So they have a pretty clear alcohol culture. Even in that instant, we still per capita have more drunk driving death per capita.
Here in Germany,
You're allowed 0.5 milligrams per milliliter of blood unless you cause any trouble on the streets. That's around 2 small beers for the average man, but maybe just 1 for me. Although, to be honest, I wouldn't advocate drinking and driving either way.
okay, now we're ready to start driving. I'm heading to a lesson, but to get there, I need to get onto the German Autobahn, which is famous for having no speed limit.
Onto the Autobahn. Not gonna lie, this always makes me a little bit nervous.
I'm not an Autobahn guy.
Driving Safety Centre. Now it's time to start.
I don't know why, but when it comes down to the Autobahn, I'm not a fan because I just don't like that. I mean, it's great that you guys have it, but I don't know, man. Too much respect for
driving
that.
lessons. I'm
Too much
meeting a
respect.
certified driving instructor to get the lowdown on everything that these lessons entail.
Tada! So, kann's losgehen.
Ready?
Robert Fleming has been teaching Berliners to drive for 2 years. Berlin is a notoriously difficult city to learn how to drive in, so he seems like the best person to take me on a test drive.
So what does a block of driving lessons in Germany actually look like? What's the general idea?
Genau.
You have 12 hours of basic material followed by 2 hours of class-specific material for Category B, the car driver's license. Then comes the theory test. After that, you can start your practical lessons straight away, and then the special training drives begin. Special training drives are for the highway, country roads, and night driving.
Beleuchtungsfahrt, auch Nachtfahrt im Volksmund genannt.
How expensive is it to learn how to drive in Germany?
Ich denke,
These
so
days, I think you can or should expect to pay around 3,500 euros on average.
500 Euro annehmen.
Damn. Damn, I was not expecting that amount of money. I'm sorry, guys. That's a lot of money. I was not expecting that much money. Golly, that's a lot of money.
Practical lessons typically
United States, $200 to $500 top.
run from 900 to 2,000
But at the same time, you're filtering irresponsible people. You see what I'm saying? Germany has it very high because it makes sense. You're filtering bad drivers. If you already have 3,000 euros already stacked up, that means that you are a responsible person and you saving that money. So it plays well in the long run.
euros in total. Special trips, aka nighttime drives, cost an extra 400 to 800 euros, and the practical exam itself can cost up to 250 euros. With registration fees and theory lessons on top of that, Germany is one of the costliest countries in the world to learn to drive in. Norway and Switzerland are considered the world's most expensive at around 4,000 euros, while countries like India, Thailand, and Russia are among the cheapest.
So do you think there's a reason why Germans are known for being such disciplined road users? Do you think the test is quite complicated?
Warum das so ist?
First of all, I believe that Germans like regulations. They like laws. They like to know how to behave.
Wie sich zu verhalten hat.
That is so interesting.
I think the other reason is that in Germany in particular, people have respect for other people's property. But even more than that, respect for their own property.
Aber vor allem noch viel mehr vor dem
Good
eigenen
point.
Eigentum.
We're on the Autobahn again, so back to that no speed limit thing.
I am very aware of the fact that on certain parts of the Autobahn there is no speed limit. What's your thought on that?
Ja,
The
also
old
dieses
myth that
uralte
there's no
Märchen,
speed
dass es
limit
keine
in Germany comes up
Geschwindigkeitsbegrenzung
time
gibt
and
in Deutschland.
again.
Das ist
Yet
immer
there
wieder
are
hochkommt.
speed limits in
Es gibt ja in
Germany.
Deutschland trotzdem
On the
die
parts of the
Geschwindigkeit.
highway where most people
Und da
think
auf den
there's none,
Autobahnen, wo
there
die
is still a
meisten
recommended
da
speed
ist offen,
limit.
da gibt es
And
keine-
that
Recommended.
is 130 kilometers per hour on German highways. You can drive faster, it's technically permitted. You can drive 400 kilometers an hour for all I care, but you're taking on a huge responsibility for yourself as well as for the other road users.
And
if
that
you have
in itself is okay. See? At least you had that freedom to choose if you want to go 1,000 miles per hour. That's fine. But it's recommended you keep at 130 kilometers per hour. You know, I respect that.
An accident, you may no longer have any insurance coverage since you are driving faster than the law permits you to under the best possible
Du
conditions.
bist ja schneller gefahren, als der Gesetzgeber dir bei
There you
allerbesten
go.
Bedingungen erlaubt hat.
I think the city of Berlin does have a bit of a reputation for having quite a high fail rate, doesn't it?
Ja.
Yeah,
Also,
so in the theory
in der
exam,
theoretischen
almost
Prüfung,
half fail the first
fast die
time.
Hälfte, die
Ja.
beim ersten Mal durchfällt.
Wow. Okay, admittedly, I did fail my theory the first time round.
Okay.
Yeah, I failed twice. Back in Puerto Rico. When I took mine in Puerto Rico, you know, it was harder than New York. It was much harder. I did 100%, 100 over 100 in New York. In Puerto Rico, it was 70%. I almost failed. But it was harder in Puerto Rico than New York, so it's kind of strange.
So somewhere between 40 and 50% fail on average in Germany.
Im bundesdeutschen Durchschnitt.
Very good. Already nodded our heads today. And in the practical, it's a good 30% of people
Wow.
The pass or fail?
Die durchfallen
that fail on the
beim
first attempt.
ersten Versuch.
China, Montenegro, Hungary, Japan, and Australia have the toughest test requirements. While Bangladesh, Belarus, Egypt, India, and Mexico are among the easiest, with minimal theory and practical experience.
Geschafft! Well, thank you so much for teaching me how to drive in Germany. And what's the verdict? Do you think I would have passed?
Ich würde sagen, du hast gerade
I'd say
so
you
bestanden.
passed, but just barely. There are 2 or 3 little things you could pay more attention to in the future.
Hochschalten, die links rum rausfahren, aber macht nichts. Langsam, langsam, nicht zu nah an der Radfahrer. Ruhig mal den Schulter weg, mit dem Schulter weg. Ansonsten
The rest, tip-top.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I really
Danke dir.
appreciate it. Dankeschön.
Okay.
Gerne.
Okay, so you finally passed your test. Hooray! That means you don't need to worry anymore, right? Well, not quite. For 2 years, you're on probation. That means if you commit any violations during this time, you risk losing your license.
Oh my god. Wow.
Okay, you're now a fully qualified driver. Simple, kind of. So there are a lot of steps involved, but to be honest, it does make me feel safer driving
Wow,
on the
it's
roads
just the
here,
bureaucracy.
knowing that everyone
Just the bureaucracy for this. But again, they're trying to filter those bad drivers. That's what it is.
around me clearly had to be a very good driver in order to be able to pass their test. How does the process compare to your country? Let us know in the comments.
Very good. I mean, personally, I personally think these things need to be tightened up here in the United States compared to Germany. The reason is that I do believe we have a lot of lazy drivers. I'm very conservative when it comes down to driving. I like not to surpass the maximum miles that you're supposed to be in the road. Like to really wait on the stop sign, like really wait. I'm just very conservative, and there's a lot of people here in the United States that they tend to lose their patience when it comes down to the road. We have a lot of road rage here. I don't know how about you guys, but we have a lot of road rage in the United States. Well, that will be a very good segment. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have videos about road rage in Germany? Do you want me to react? And that way I can just sort of compare or something like that. I would like to know if that's something that does happen in Germany. If it happens, how often? If it doesn't happen, why it's the reason. In the meantime, guys, I'll see you next one. I'm out.